Right.
Philemon, thank you for joining me in this session. My name is Martin Wafula, and I come from Trans-Nzoia County. That's why I've seen it's important to be able to reach out to the people of Trans-Nzoia and try to help them know who are these new candidates and what are they bringing in, because for a long time I think our county has performed very badly. And just as an initiative, I just want to reach out to the new and fresh candidates and just talk to them and find out what vision do they have for our county. So this is just an initiative for community service and for just a program to help people back in my home county. I'm giving back to the community. And so maybe because including myself, we know your name, and probably that is the much we know. So maybe do you want to tell people who Philemon is and how you related to Trans-Nzoia County? So maybe you can just start there by introducing yourself.
Well, thank you, Martin, for this very important session. Just to have this particular discussion and just giving an insight on some of the issues that we really need to discuss about our county, Trans-Nzoia. And as you have rightly said, Philemon Samoei is born and bred here in Trans-Nzoia from Kwanza constituency. Currently, this is Kwanza sub-county. This is a farm called Lesos. As you can see right behind me, I'm just seated just at the farm.
Yeah, it's very green and beautiful.
Thank you, because definitely we need to take the directives of the government regarding this corona disease. So we are literally confined just at home. Now, I would really not want to give so much details about myself at this particular juncture, because most of the guys who are in the social media platforms have been able to just get a glimpse of my, brief profile. But as I said, I have been born here in Trans-Nzoia, and I understand the issues affecting people of Trans-Nzoia right from about, talking of about 3 decades now. And we have seen a Trans-Nzoia that was then, and a Trans-Nzoia that we have at the moment. So as a new entrant, as you rightly say, we have so many things in our entry that we are planning to deal with, especially social economic issues, talking of infrastructural expansion of the county, and just redeeming back the county into its past status. So that's where we are at. I really don't need to talk about myself so much, but out there, I'm an expert in peace and security operations, and also on matters of governance. I would say it's an area that I think I have a lot of knowledge and experience in.
Yes, it's always been my concern, and every time I go home, I try to wonder, because there are some of the roads that we have used since I was a young boy up to right now, and nothing has ever been done. Yet we have had very great names and great leaders hail from our county. So I thought it's time we need transformative leaders and transformation completely for the people. And my whole campaign and my whole debate has been, we move from situations where we are choosing leaders in terms of tribalism, or we are choosing leaders because this person has this name which is big, like what it's the same thing that exactly happens in the whole country. So just to tell the people of Trans-Nzoia County, what would you say is the main problem that is facing is facing our county and our people. The main problem, if you were to just mention one, what would you choose to be one of your main concerns?
Thank you, Martin. Let me say this, that there is something that we call economic prosperity. And economic prosperity has certain indicators. That's just to show that the county is moving economically into the right direction, and that the quality of life for the people of a particular region can be really assessed, and we can see that the quality of the life of these people is actually what is comparing maybe to other counties. Then we will be able to see a people that is able to deal with issues, what I would call self-sustainability, and many of the aspects revolving around the economy. But on to the other question that you asked me about the problem. The problem with our county is that we have had a certain type of politics that is not healthy, okay? Where leaders are elected not based on integrity and values and probably what they have done to the people. But the basis or some of the parameters that people use to choose their leaders is based on tribe, that because I hail from this particular community, then therefore we need to put one of our own at the helm, say the CEO of the county. Not really that they will benefit directly, but there is this fear that should we put a person from another tribe, then we do suspect that we will be left behind, okay? But that is the kind of politics that I have always said. If you looked at the social media platforms and all the other forums that I have engaged in, other areas, then I have always talked about that being so retrogressive, useless politics, for lack of a better word, where people choose leaders based on, tribes.
Yeah, so that is very true. The Mtuetu syndrome is alive and kicking, not only in Trans-Nzoia County, even in Kenya, where there has been a big risk of leaders of people to elect leaders because these leaders are from their tribe. And it doesn't mean that people are going to be helped directly. It's just fear, as you're talking about. And this is something that I think we need to find a solution where people choose leaders because of their integrity, because of their ability to perform, and they will look at, especially for example, if someone has been a leader before, they look at how have you performed in the past to deserve coming up for another round of elections and everything. So this involves a whole change of attitude and mental behavior. So you have identified the main problem as the aspect of people electing each other because electing leaders who are from their tribe without necessarily they think probably they'll gain on a personal basis, but what we have learned from time and again is that people get just little handouts before election. The 200, 100, then that one is supposed to sustain someone for 5 years. So many people have been blinded to look for the next 5 years. And sometimes people tend to do that because they always have this mentality that they will elect this person and he'll disappear for 5 years. So wacha tukule pesa yake saizi, akipata kura ende amenda. And that's where we totally fail. So how do you think we are going to change this attitude? How are we going to have a transformation, especially to the grassroots? That person who believe that the leader must be from my tribe. What different thing are you going to do to try and educate or transform people's attitudes and mentality so that everybody looks at leaders and look at leadership instead of looking at leaders and you start thinking of how this person is related to your tribe or your community?
Thank you, Martin, for that brilliant question. It's been really a challenge, especially to let people know that we must elect leaders not on the basis of tribe, but on the basis of a track record or performance, and especially for those politicians who are the incumbent ones who were elected in the previous elections. Then we need to interrogate and ask them, after you gave the 50 shillings, as you rightly say, then from that period up to now, what has this particular population gained, in exchange of that 50 shillings? So we see that that's not the right way of doing things. And in fact, as we speak, those who are given the 50 shillings and those kind of handouts is a huge chunk of people who are currently, impoverished, and poverty is actually eating so much in those areas, especially those people who are given the 50 shillings. Because the leaders gave them 50 shillings and they disappeared. For the members of parliament, you will see them just in Nairobi, concentrating on issues that really don't matter to the people who elected them, because they are supposed to represent the people in parliament and articulate the issues affecting the people, at the grassroots level. But unfortunately, as soon as they get elected, then they disappear. And instead of becoming the people's servant, they become the masters, unfortunately. But I'm looking at politics in a very different way, where some of us who probably are aspiring, to manage the county come 2022, will be basing some of the issues and the agendas we have for the county, not because now I appear now to be the boss. One thing is that there is what we call servant leadership. That should be expected from people of us who really think that integrity and Chapter 6 of the Constitution is key in terms of leading the people. So mine is to say we really have a challenge, to bring these people to speed and get like civic education or something, just to enlighten them that basing politics on tribe is something that is so retrogressive and has really brought the economy or the what I would call the economic infrastructure, the fiscal infrastructure, and even the leadership of the county, down instead of moving forward.
Yeah, and Kenya and Trans-Nzoia County has a big population of the youth. Yet today we know that one of the biggest problems facing many young people is unemployment. So there's unemployment that is probably also contributing to some of these factors where people will accept to be bribed or make decisions that probably might not be the best because they need to get those quick handouts. So a large number of youth are well educated. They have gone to those polytechnics. They have gone to universities. Nowadays, at least everybody can access an education, though we know much still needs to be done to have access to primary education or to basic education for everyone. So we have seen that since county governments began, we have seen some counties have really come up with policies that have led to industrialization. And you look at projects like dairy factories where production is done and processing is done to milk to sell products that have been processed to the market. You have seen counties come up with textile mills, and these are employing their people. Then it takes us back and try to see a very rich county like TransNzoia that has a lot of agricultural capability, we can surely start industries, and this can, like for example, in food production and so on. This can lead a great way to have youth gain employment, training to have these youths get jobs here, so that we empower people, because most leaders count on poverty of the people to be able to get to this position. So the poorer the people remain, the easier for a leader to manipulate them. So do you have any plan if you get that office in the at the county? What is your plan? In brief, how are you going to tackle the aspect of youth unemployment?
Martin, let me put it this way, that in fact, most of the guys who are on the receiving end in terms of unemployment and even poverty, eating so much into them is the youth, right?
Yeah.
And if you looked at some of my discussions on the social media, and for the few opportunities I've gotten to interact with the people, I've been talking about empowering the youth. And talking about the youth, the statistics show clearly that we have a huge chunk of, landed people, educated people, graduates who have graduated from universities, but are not able to gain meaningful employment. Unfortunately, we have even graduates who are doing the border business. I'm not saying border is bad, but you see, it must be commensurate, someone who has invested in, or a parent who has invested in education for their children, only for this person to return after 5 or so years to come and ride a border. You see the frustration of that parent. So we are saying, me and my team, because it's not only me. Yes, I'm the captain to drive this agenda, but I have a solid team which we have selected across the 25 wards. Experienced guys, representatives of the youth, who will bring forth the issues affecting the youth. And one of the key issues is unemployment, as you say. So we will find, even though, let me not let the cat out of the bag at this, otherwise I will be attempting to campaign and share my manifesto to my opponents. Remember, most of them do this, what we call copy and, pasting.
Yeah.
Yes. So they get, issues like the laptop, project, things that are not, the smart, the smart model.
Yeah.
Things must be, it must be attainable. Something that is measurable, you must attain those specific goals. You don't just go and cut and, paste, okay, a manifesto that was maybe just lying somewhere, and come and paste it to here in Trans-Nzoia. So we are saying we will conduct a thorough analysis in all the 25 wards and get to know exactly how many youth, probably graduates in every ward, okay, who have no meaningful employment. And from the time they graduated, for how long, okay, have they tarmacked without getting jobs? I'm not saying it's a guarantee that these people will get, the white collar jobs, but we can really do many things, even including farming, okay, where we can say those graduates, okay, with the expanded knowledge and the expanded minds, then we can be able to introduce to them some of the, economic programs like farming. This is what I would call diversified farming, so that we don't rely just purely on maize crop. We can do horticulture, but again, remember, the leadership again has to drive this agenda, so that you bring on board this group of people. So just to give you a snip, as I said, I will not let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, you must
But
protect your baby right
yes,
now.
yes,
Yes.
yes. So, but just to mention a few, because it's no secret that our people are really suffering, that we are looking up to certain programs, say even some industrial, facilities, some industrial, let me say, manufacturing within the county, so that we are able to absorb a bigger chunk of this group of people from all cadres, not necessarily the graduates alone. So we'll be taking into consideration that based on analysis that we will have carried out in the county across the 25 wards, representatives of all different groups, right? From women, the youth, and even the old people, okay? Many of them are actually suffering and just waiting, to die because the persons who are supposed to support them, live the quality life as they age, don't have something to do, or they don't have any economic, livelihood where they are earning so that they are able to support those people. We must move, Martin, from this notion where we leave everything to the national government.
Yeah.
The local leaders, maybe the CEO of the county and his CCs, okay, and even the representatives, those who represent us in the Senate and even the National Assembly, okay, are supposed to play their part, so that we don't just put a load on, okay, maybe the national government. As it is now, let me just give a perfect example about the floods. Just the other day, and I remember I had warned a few weeks ago that most definitely we'll be seeing, the river Sabwani flooding and displacing people and, wreaking havoc in terms of sweeping away the maize plantations and even the livestock and sheep and goats and chicken. That has happened. We have seen that in the course of this week. And again, we have seen our...
and this is something that has repeated year after year.
Martin, this is protracted. It's no secret that I remember in 2005, this river, there is a bridge just as you go towards Kolongolo, just after Namanjalala. This is Maridadi, I guess. And we have a bridge there. So most of these people who have been displaced from those areas of Zea, okay, just come little to Kobos, Gidea, like that, and now Namajalala, okay, and Maridadi. All these groups of people, okay, had come together on that bridge in 2005. And the member of parliament then, I remember, my mind serves me very well, is that he was dishing out 50 shillings to the affected families, okay?
Yeah.
And he was basing the, giving the 50 shillings, that we need to give the 50 shillings to women, okay, who have children. Yeah. So my problem, you can see, started way back. Yes, way back in 2005, and even before, as I was still serving in government, we got the news about this kind of flooding and the rains wreaking havoc in those regions. So nothing has happened since that time, because again, the leaders we elect have not really done so much, because once they get into these leadership positions, they disappear. And because most of them probably will have used a lot of money to do the campaigns, okay? Yeah. Then once they get there, then it's a high time for them, to get back their money, okay? Yeah. Through maybe even corrupt deals. And, they purport that, we are constructing these, but these being, cash cows and avenues to siphon public money. So we are saying, let me speak for myself, that this has been, there have been so many problems in Trans-Nzoia County. Talking of agriculture, as you say, we have issues about land. People, these we call squatters, okay, many of them, okay? Every year they cry out to government to help them, so that they are able to be settled.
Yeah.
But we will fast track these cases so that these people are able to settle and lead meaningful lives. So we are, as I've said, the issue of disaster management, we are, at a scale of 1 to 10, let me say I can give the current regime 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, they have really tried by getting 2 because
yes, they have tried by getting 2.
Most of those
but these 2
can be solved, and they have been known to exist for a long time.
Yes, this is a protracted problem, Martin. As we speak now, something that happened in those regions that are actually experiencing floods, is that most of the people encroached those riparian areas. And in fact, some of them have bought close to the riverbanks. But we wonder whether they have even title deeds for those, pieces of land which they have bought, because, if you looked at the government, the maps, the riparian areas are supposed to be, I think, more than almost 300 meters away from the riverbank. But you realize that these people have encroached along those riverbanks and cultivated in those areas. So there is a lot of soil erosion where, Martin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm getting you.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that because of this erosion, there is a lot of silting in the riverbed. Yeah. That means something needs to happen right from the river source. This is Mount Elgon region, coming through, this is Gidea areas all the way downstream. We need to do the desilting, okay, and probably build some dams, okay, just to be able to tap the overflow water that ordinarily would go and sweep away the people downstream. So remember, these are long-term plans that we will engage the national government to help us, because the county may not be in a position to do this kind of huge projects because of issues about funding.
One thing
please go ahead.
One thing I've always discussed with some of my friends, and it beats logic, because we are in a very green county, a lot of water, and still our people cannot get clean water. Yet having water supply, in fact, we just, given that our county is a highland area, we just need to do this by gravity. And every household, at this time, surely our mothers, our sisters, our brothers should not be pulling wheelbarrows or riding bicycles to the river to get water. This excessive flow of water can be stored, and the water can be supplied to every household should have a tap, and this should just be the way people live. And it's been achieved elsewhere in the world, and this can simple case like some places in South Africa, this has been achieved, and therefore this can be done. We don't need to have a situation where we have a lot of water, yet our people are not able to access clean water for drinking. Yeah, so the dams can be a great idea for the county to be able to tap this water and supply within the county and even outside that county, because we have neighbors like in Turkana, West Pokot, some places where they are drier. This might really help those other counties.
That is true, Martin. Let us blame just the leadership, because it's just about goodwill. That once we draw plans or identify the problems, then as leaders, we need to engage the national government and probably donors, friends, okay, who can really help us to deal with these problems by constructing, say, those dams and doing a whole new infrastructure for the supply of piped water to every homestead. Unfortunately, again, if you went to the Nzoia water and something, you realize that the piping system and the reservoirs are the old colonial reservoirs, and with the expanded population, then the water that is in those reservoirs is not enough to supply the expanded population. So talking of the 1980s, and from the time the colonials had settled here in Trans-Nzoia, it's just the same water infrastructure, apart from the couplet one that was done about 15 or so years ago. But you see, there is always an expanded growth in population. And as leaders and government, then we need to take care of this population so that they are able to access clean water.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And just maybe to wind up, there's one of the other main problems is health. And I think all of us from Trans-Nzoia, we've seen a referral hospital that has been on construction for I think the record very long time. I hope it's going to be completed soon. But I saw some disturbing photos on Facebook. I hope they're not true. They cannot be verified about the situation of our hospital, the county hospital. So if we still have cases where people are sharing beds in hospital, then something needs to be done. Maybe just in briefly, what do you think is ailing the health sector in Trans-Nzoia County, or even in generally in the counties in Kenya? And what can be done differently to assure people of better health care?
Now, Martin, if you have a sick population, a sick community, a sick society, then you should not expect any output from these people, because they are not able to work, okay, because of their health conditions. Now, again, this boils down to the kind of leadership that we have at county level, because health is a devolved function. Just before the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, it was still under the central government.
Yeah.
But as we speak, after that period of time, then the health and health and some bits of agriculture were devolved. So talking about the health facilities or the health system in the county, it is incumbent upon the management of the county, okay, and the goodwill of what I would call the county assembly, the MCAs, and the CEC of health, okay, to engage their counterparts in the national government and identify problems, so that where there are gaps, okay, we can petition the government to help, or donors or well-wishers, or instead of simply hiding, yet we have problems, okay. So as we speak, talking about the health system in the county, it's no secret that there is a facility here in Trans-Nzoia, commonly referred to as the new referral hospital, that has taken now so many years, before completion. Politicians or the current regime keep on lying to us that we are opening soon, very soon. We have this bed capacity. We have drugs, enough drugs, okay, medicine. But all that are pure lies, okay? Because I'm in the county. I'm at the grassroots area. So there is no secret that even a packet of Panadol cannot be availed to a sick patient at the district hospital. So if that cannot happen, then what do we expect of the so-called referral hospital? That's, for me, is just a white elephant project. We will do an audit. If at all they will not have finished that by 2022. God willing, if the people of Trans-Nzoia, really put their trust in me, then these are some of the things that we will seriously look into, because you cannot wish issues about health system education, physical infrastructure, economy, issues about disaster management, agriculture, even including human rights and environmental issues, and degradation of the environment and cutting of trees. All those are issues that we will address when that time comes. But I pray that probably the Holy Spirit touches the current regime so that they see the need of completing these stalled projects for people to enjoy or access the medical health facility.
Yeah. So we hope that someone who, if you will get into that office, or any person will get into that office, that healthcare will become one of their main agenda. And just we can even learn from what is happening in the world. And I just listened to one governor in Maryland, that is USA, who right now we have the coronavirus pandemic. And this governor, instead of depending on the federal government, that is like in Kenya, our national government, he went ahead and used the connections of his wife's connections, who is from South Korea, then was able to get test kits and PPEs and supplies from South Korea through the connection with the wife. So we need people who can be proactive and think to different problems and their solutions. So Philemon, it was a great discussion. We've covered a wide range of topics, and maybe this is just as an educational platform right now, because as you said, we are not, or you are not letting the cat out of the bag right now, talking about your manifesto and everything, because it will be too early to start campaigning. Right now is to be there for the people, educate the people, and that is a responsibility everyone, all of us should be able to do to help our people, and just demystify different myths, such as voting on tribal lines, such as getting those handouts or the money in order to vote for the candidates. Look for candidates who have a history of integrity, because if someone could not have integrity where they were before, whether they are new or an old candidate, they cannot start having integrity right now. So leadership is something we'll keep talking about. I will try to also to reach out to other leaders in the county and just speak to them so that we make these joint project of educating our people, and make sure that when the right time comes, they make very wise decisions. They make decisions that are not tribal based. They make decisions that considering factors such as, this decision I'm making, will it have an impact on my child's education? Will it have an impact on our health, ability to provide health services to the people of the county? Because you realize we are moving towards universal healthcare, and yet so, okay. So sorry, we lost Philemon. I think probably is a network issue. So we are moving towards universal healthcare, which is something that is so critical to our people and to their survival and everything. So we must therefore ensure we educate each other. Kindly, people, take time to learn and make decisions this time that are wise and are going to make our society different. And I'm going to reach out. If I don't reach out, please reach out to me and to other aspirants, even people who are not aspiring to be leaders, to just discuss how to make our county better, how to make TransNzoia County a county that will be respected, flourish, because we already rich. We just need someone who will tap our potential and make great out of it. So thank you very much for listening to me. Again, I'm Martin Wafula, and right now I'm carrying out this session while in University of Oxford. So TransNzoia County, we are well represented, but it's time we must reach out and stay and educate each other. So I want to advise the young people, let us not be divided in our tribal lines because it's not going to help. Na tukae kwa umoja, tusaidiane kuendelesha kaunti yetu. So thank you very much and God bless you all. So people, until next time, again, same place, we will talk and discuss different issues, innovation, talent, all this for the benefit of our people, because sharing is caring. So the more we share ideas, the better we become, and probably the more we improve our livelihoods. Thank you very much. God bless you.